So welcome, Jean. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, all. I'm going to share my experience of Hurricane Janet in Grenada, which devastated our island on September the 22nd, 1955. At that time, I was attending the Anglican Girls High School, and we were asked to go home early so we can prepare for the coming of the hurricane. I got home and I remembered my mother making bakes and fish cakes for supper that evening. And we were 6 persons in that house at that time, 3 males and 3 females. The males would stay downstairs or slept downstairs while the females would sleep upstairs. That evening, my mother said, we all are going upstairs because she thought that was the safest place. So after eating and everything else, we all took what we had and we went upstairs. While we were there, waiting anxiously, not knowing what to expect, gradually things began to take its worse. The winds began to blow. You could hear the windows slamming. You could hear the glass all falling off. And all of a sudden, my mother said, Jean, look up. And when I looked up, I saw the skies and the stars. I started to scream. So she said, okay, that everybody now is quite confused. She said, okay, we're going to try to go up the hill, not too far from us. There was a big wall house. And she said that house is safe in hurricanes. Now for us to get down, we couldn't go through the front door because all the glass was all there. So our brothers had to go down a back door and take us down one by one. In that 3 ladies was my pregnant sister-in-law. So we got down there. When we reached, we had to go underneath galvanized, which had formed an arch. So you had to go under there to get to the road. Luckily though, while we were going up the hill, we met some friends coming, knowing the position of my sister-in-law and that her husband wasn't here. And they took us to their home. The roof and everything was on, but somehow or the other, water just poured in the house that night. So we all sat in water that night. There was a steamer or a cargo ship which brought things to Grenada, both at the pier. The pier sank, and that ship, to let people know, sent up a flare, a big ball of people would say fire. You should hear the scream because everyone thought the world was coming to an end. That settled down, and so did everybody at that house. And we waited and waited patiently until the morning came. You could not wait to get back to the home. When we got back home, could you imagine? There was nothing wrong with the downstairs of the house. So we looked around and do what you could do, but there was no water, no electricity. And so all you can do is just, people were coming, visiting other people to see who didn't have any problems, would come and see and help. And then we couldn't stay in the house, at least at nights. So we would go in the morning, and in the evenings we would sleep at neighbors' home. What I can tell you though, after the pier sunk, all the food from there washed ashore on the Carnage. And the people living around there would go and collect. I didn't think anything was wrong with that. And I can tell you there was a bakery, Sardines Bakery, and the door was opened. And a set of Dundee cake washed in there. And needless to say, I had enough Dundee cake to last me a lifetime. But it was delicious, and I still love Dundee cake. However, the government decided they would ask policemen to guard the goods that washed ashore, which I didn't see any point. So people would not go and collect them. But people, as usual, find ways and means to outdo people. So they would come out with clothes and place their clothes. And when the police stop you this time, you quarrel and say you have your clothes. So next time he would kind of hesitate when you're going home. A few days after this, we were supposed to go back to school to clean our desk, which was full of water and leaves. And the bigger girls were asked to help at the hospital because people came from Carrier Cove on boats to Grenada. The hospital there was all demolished and quite a few people died. A lot of people died because the shelter, which was a church, the roof caved in, so people died. And those who were hurt were sent to Grenada to be hospitalized. So you can imagine the room, there was not much room. So there are cots and beds and whatever on the floor. So they asked some of the older girls, high school girls, to volunteer to help. Well, Jean did volunteer, but she couldn't stay because I just cried. But during that time, I would try to help the neighbors around to see how they were doing. And what I always struck me about the hurricane, when it was finished the morning and you looked out, it did not look to you that it was rain which came. It looked as though it was a fire. Every tree looked burnt. That stands out with me and Grenada and the hurricane of Janet. I thank you.
Wow, thank you very much.